Students, your time has come. I have decided that it's time to share some of my knowledge with you. That's right. Do you want to become a true legendary professional wrestling character? Do you want to learn how to project your voice, to enunciate, to come up with the greatest promos that you possibly could? Then you need to join me each and every week for just $50. I am hosting a masterclass on Zoom. That's right. You don't have to travel. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. I will teach you how to become the greatest character you can be. I will help you discover who you truly are. I will help you with taglines, promos, etc., etc. Join me for just $50 a week in a masterclass of wrestling character development. There's a reason they call us the masters of wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of the truth, welcome to Power and Glory, the podcast. Today we have a very special guest. He's lucky to be here, in fact. You see him at the bottom of the screen there. He's really, really lucky, ladies and gentlemen. But before we begin that, I'm the Master Amir. To my right, the bodacious suave. How you doing, Matthew Jacobs?
Not bad today, not bad. Ready to kick some ass here tonight, on this Tuesday evening.
We are ready to kick some ass on this Tuesday evening. We're awaiting the presence of Mario Mancini, but of course, the focal point this day. And again, like I said, Alan, you're very lucky that I'm allowing you this opportunity. Alan, the Kryptonian Klingbeil from Power Slap champion with us right now. How you doing, Alan?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, other than, talking to you, obviously. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. So
yeah, I know exactly. We do have to do it. Contractual obligations and all of that and such.
That's right.
Alan, absolutely. I see that nice poster you have behind you right there, Superman.
Yeah, that's me.
That's you.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you hear this bodacious one?
Yeah,
I hear him. He's got some comedy in this guy. It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
my style.
Yes, he's got good style indeed. I tell you what, he does have a powerful slap. That's right. So, Alan, of course, we're going to give you the platform right here. All joking aside, we got our viewers. Load up, bring up your super chats, your questions for Alan, because we're going to be here for the next hour or so. But Alan, for those who may not know, because obviously we promote to the pro wrestling world first and foremost, give us a brief summary about Power Slap before we kick us in.
It's Power Slap is a unique slap fighting championship underneath the UFC. Dana White and the Fertitta brothers with Shiafu LLC own half of it at least. So obviously that ties straight into the WWE world with the TKO group. So that's kind of how we all marry it together. It's similar to mixed martial arts. We have the same weight classes for the most part. I'm in the light heavyweight division. We have the welterweight, the middleweight. We got the heavyweight as well as the super heavyweight. We're building out a women's division, so it's still a relatively new sport. We're supposed to do 18 either in January or February. It's simply as if you have a regular match. It's going to be 3 rounds, and you hold a baton behind your back, you get slapped, and then there's 3 rounds of that where you get to deliver one back. So 1 round is an even exchange of those blows. So that's a regular match. And then if you have a title match, it's a 5-round, similar to the UFC format. So, and the cool thing is, and I got to be the first one to do it in a championship match, was we have a sudden death round. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Sudden death, huh? That sounds pretty definitive right there. Sudden death. And again, Alan, you are lucky that I didn't slap you on Sunday. Yeah, you are very lucky. Bodacious Suave. This guy tried to get me in the ring. Well, actually, he did. He's lucky he's behind a screen right now. But yeah.
Well, I was going to ask and start it off, Alan. Nice to meet you. But my first question was, does Amir have a face that you just want to slap?
Well, pleasure to meet you as well. I gotta say, yeah. I mean, there's just something about him. It's evil. It's dastardly. It's like, yeah, you got to slap it off. You got to slap that face off of his face. That's the only explanation I could possibly give. So.
It's very smug, isn't it?
It is.
Well, when you come from affluence, such as myself, then you have every right to be smug. But nonetheless, enough about me. This is about you. Again, contractual obligations. It must be about you today. Tell us, how did you get into Power Slap, Alan?
And I was one of the first people to apply. I saw Dana White back when it was still Twitter. He posted like, "Hey, do you if you want a unique opportunity, essentially like apply." And apparently, I was legitimately one of the first people to apply. And then I didn't hear back for quite a few months, and then just kind of shot me a random text and like, "Hey, we'll get all these medical things paid for you. We'll fly you out. We'll put you up in a hotel, and you'll go fight in front of Dana White and Michael Bisping." And then ended up being Mark Wahlberg was out there, which was kind of cool to just be like, "Hey, Mark Wahlberg, watching me slap some dude." Like, so it was a good time. Yeah, that's basically it. And I ended up being good at it. So they signed me, to do multiple fights and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, and it's incredible. Obviously Matthew, Bodacious One, he was telling me on Sunday. Alan's been out to Saudi Arabia. He competed out there with Power Slap. But one of the things that intrigued me the most that you were telling me about Power Slap, well, like I said to you on Sunday, when I first met you on Sunday, I wasn't expecting an individual like you. I'm going to give you some props, just a few tiny little ones. I was expecting, brutish, guy who may have just stepped out of a bar, hasn't shaved in a month, but I see Alan. I see this man with an intellectual prowess. I see this man who wants to do good in the world, because we're going to get to that later, about being a role model. This is very important to me, to the Bodacious Suave, and for sure to all the families with children out there. But one of the things you told me was how well they take care of you. You want to share that?
I do actually, and I appreciate you giving me that platform, despite your disgusting face or whatever. But
beautiful face, beautiful. No.
Yeah, they treat us so well. Like, honestly, we are treated kind of like celebrities, and we're right on par with UFC fighters. Honestly, some of them kind of initially they didn't like us as much because they're like, "Why do you get to be here?" And it's like, it is what it is, right? But now we're all family at the end of the day. But yeah, they fly you out. They put you in this really nice hotel. They give you millions of dollars worth of publicity if you happen to make it to a live card, and then they pay you well, and they take care of your the licensing, the medicals, the flying out. They give you per diem. When I was in Abu Dhabi, both times I got to coach last year, and then this past one I got to be the title match, which was pretty darn cool. I think we had a partnership with we were able to go to the F1 place. There was a DC and Marvel. Well, it was just DC. I think it was Warner Brothers, what it was. And then they had a SeaWorld that has the largest aquarium where you could just walk underneath it. And, they have whales and all this other junk in there. And they treat you really, really well. And I would say anybody who thinks that it's going to damage your brain more than MMA or anything like that, there's so many statistics out there on the amount of strikes you receive as you get knocked out. On average, you at a bare minimum, I believe it's 3 to 4 additional strikes is the average amount. So sometimes 2 or 3, but more likely it's anywhere between 3, 4, and then you have some of those higher numbers where someone's just getting pounded and they're already knocked out. You got 12 to 13 additional hits, but we have somebody catch us. They're doing medicals before we go out there, medicals on stage afterwards, and any injury that you incur is covered underneath the UFC's insurance policy. So they treat you very, very well.
Yeah, that's very good to know. Bodacious Suave, are you thinking we should ditch pro wrestling right now? Potentially go.
Well, I was going to tell Alan that Amir was reaching out to me off camera. He was wondering how to sign up to Power Slap.
No, hold on. Before he answers that question,
yeah,
Alan, understand Power Slap are probably going to request me, not the other way around. I'm sure you can. So, but nonetheless, for our viewers,
for the viewers. Yeah, so you just go to powerslap.com and I believe it used to just say sign up, but I think it has something to do with talent casting or something like that. But yeah, you go to the website, you click on a little tab, little drop down menu comes down, and it's one of those options in there. And same process I went through. And I would say that the hard thing is they have these combines now, and I've met I've legitimately met like 150 people that went to these combines, and they think it's going to be like that, and but they don't realize that we already had like a signed amount of fighters, not just one-off signed fighters that were 150 deep, and we had a couple of matches that didn't pan out last year. So it's kind of like everything gets staggered and it slows down because it's the professional world, and so it's I can't even imagine WWE. I'm not gonna lie. Like I know that they schedule things at like way out in advance, like many months, if not years, certain things, and it's very similar. Like you have these contracts, you got to book these venues, and then it's like, okay, well, we're signing these fighters for this opportunity, and then well, that guy gets injured, then we got to move this around and all that other stuff. So and then on top of that, occasionally people test positive for things that they didn't know they couldn't take, and that throws a wrench in the mix. So I'll just say that's a lot to say, but basically, if you sign up, don't get discouraged. I didn't hear back for like 6 to 8 months, so yeah.
Well, I tell you what. Obviously, I'm looking at the chats that are starting to come in, and of course, give us your chats. Chime in. That's why we're here. That's why we're going live. So if you've got a question for Alan, if you want to find out, for example, how much money do you make at Power Slap, write us in. Give us your super chat. He'll answer your question. But one person in this chat has already challenged you. In fact, Alan. Now I don't know who this gentleman is. I know he's part of apparently the Samoan dynasty, according to his name.
Oh, snap. Okay, let's go. Who is it?
I don't know awesome. if he's willing to have a super chat or a super question for you. Maybe he can challenge you live right here. I mean, he's challenged you in private mode right here in the comments. Okay. So Samoan Watchman, if you want to truly challenge Alan, if you want to sign up for Power Slap, then give us a super chat, and we'll connect you with Alan here. But Aisha Suave, I see you pontificating over there.
Yeah, Alan, I'm wondering. I mean, I watch Power Slap. Do you think in the future that it'll be like a monthly event? Like, are they recruiting new talent to build a more in-depth roster to put on more shows once a month, like UFC does?
Yes, sir. And I can't speak to like insider knowledge, but what I can tell you is that Dana White and several other key members, including Frank, who is our president, he, the president of Power Slap, obviously, not president of the United States, like I just did DJT, obviously, phenomenal guy. But back on track. The goal is to do at least once a month, starting in January. So I don't know if that's going to be bumped to February or not, and they're going to do 2 in February and then continue on with once a month. I couldn't speak to that because I'm not in the war room with them. All I can say is based on Power Slap 17, which was the October 31st, and a couple of weeks after, and as well as like within the past 3 or 4 weeks, there's been talks about doing one per month, for a total of 12 this upcoming year, and hopefully more. But so I know they signed with Qatar on top of Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, like re-signing with those guys. So that's a good sign. I know they're trying to do some other countries that I can't talk about, and then Texas, New York, Hawaii, and California are all the other states that they're looking to do. So
now I got to ask you, Alan. I got to come in here. Forgive me, but Aisha Suave, if I swooped in there. But Alan, you talked about a little bit of jealousy, perhaps, from some of the UFC guys, the way you were handled. Now, what do you say when some of these wrestlers, of course, not up to my standard, not up to the Bodacious Suave standard, but some of these wrestlers kind of slime and weasel their way in to the competition? Do you perhaps somewhat is there a little bit of resentment from some of the guys that don't perform in pro wrestling? Do they really want just tough guys doing this? I mean, is there any resentment, any ill boding backstage?
I mean, I'm sure it's the same with wrestlers and in professional wrestling or fighters in the UFC or whatever. It's like you have a certain amount of people who are rostered, and then you bring in new talent, and it's like, well, and it's in every promotion. There's always something that happens. There's like a stalled moment, and it prevents you getting in there. And maybe it's your opponent is like not medically cleared for some reason, and then you're kind of screwed for that reason. It really, that creates ill will, and people get very upset. So I'll say this, that I don't think people are mad at new people signing. It's just difficult when, we've had this brief gap, and that's always the hardest part for Power Slap. I feel like we built so much up in this momentum, and then we have these gaps of time, and it just kind of like kills things, especially during the holidays. A lot of other sports are kind of like not as active as well, and so people kind of look to things like Power Slap, and so it kind of gets highlighted that we're not active, and so within that, I'm kind of going around your question. I'm a long talker. I apologize about that, but
No
to
worries.
answer your question,
No worries.
yeah, it is. The resentment always comes from the fact of like, hey, what does he have that I don't that he's getting on this card right now?
Yeah.
I feel like that's really where the resentment comes from people. But as far as I can tell, we've all been assured that this upcoming year we're going to be very, very used. It's just, a month feels like a year sometimes. So,
And in terms of contracts, now you discussed with me the pay scale. Of course, our dear buddy Sin has discussed that with, well, I say buddy, but he's got one coming, him as well. But nonetheless, what was that?
Said he's my buddy.
Yes. But we discussed fees and whatnot, but contracts. Are you guys in the contract phases? Like, for example, the champions, the major players, are they getting under contract now as per pay per play or pay per slap basis?
Yeah, I mean, I can't I don't know what Sin has said or can say. I can tell you that I can't speak to the exact nature of it. What I can say is that I had a multi-fight contract that I'm still underneath, and will be renegotiating with through like my manager and stuff like that eventually in the future. But yeah, that's the idea. Is you get a multi-fight contract. Some people get more, some people get less, and I lucked out because I took the chance early on when no one was willing to do it, and that's a lot of the guys that have stuck around. And that's probably the hardest part too, is like you have to understand the length of time that can pass, and life isn't always going to support you doing this. And so you have to make an effort that goes beyond like normal means to be a part of it. And I know it's the same in the wrestling field too. So, and the UFC world. So it's a multi-fight contract if you do well. So some people get one fight contracts, and some people, they maintain that and they just wait for Frank and now Justin, who is our new matchmaker, formerly Erica, to call them and be like, hey, do you want to do a fight again? And some people choose to do that, so it's just whatever suits you. But yeah, for myself, at Power Slap 2, I was offered after Power Slap 1, I was offered a contract, and then we had to have it changed due to actually some BKFC. They were sharking some of our guys, so we had to re-sign it at Power Slap 2. But yeah, so that's where I got my fight contract from.
Yeah, it sounds pretty incredible. Obviously your life has changed, I'm sure, dramatically since being part of Power Slap, because obviously now you're a recognizable public figure. We talked about this. I know what this is like. I've been public my entire life, thanks to my Uncle Paul. But with you, how have you handled this new attention that you're receiving?
Yeah, I've gone through ebbs and flows. So, like early on, I knocked out the number one guy due to there was 2 or 3 guys in my weight class that tested positive for things they didn't know they couldn't take. And they were like some synthetic or something. They were not aware that we all became very aware after that happened. But they did a great job educating us afterwards. They gave us the resources. We just weren't smart enough to read it. So I was, but most of I'm speaking on behalf of most of the guys. So anyway, I got an opportunity to fight the number one guy in the light heavyweight division. I knocked him out. I became one of the most popular shorts on there. So from that time, I've ebbed and flowed. With a little bit of media attention. I even did a national. On the Trace Gallagher show on Fox News, I did a live interview about Power Slap during right before the election happened, and that was a huge blessing. But so it's been up and down. I've been in the entertainment industry a little bit in life, and so it's not intimidating to me. I guess this, to answer your question, is it's not new to me, but especially it is kind of cool, being from San Antonio, Texas. When you walk around here and people recognize you more often, it's kind of a big deal because we support athletes no matter who they are or what sport they're doing. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely important to keep your feet on the ground, but Aisha Suave and I, we often deal with mobs. My tag team partner, Gunjack, and I, the Victorians, same thing, but you've got to keep your feet on the ground, and that's important. And one of the things I do respect, and I really enjoyed about speaking with you after, we squashed our little beef there
Right.
was the fact that your morals, your moral compass is guided in a great direction. And I think it's, that's what's needed so much in the world right now. Your passion, to be a role model for kids. You're not coming out, you're not cussing in front of, international audiences. You're speaking with wisdom and intellect. You're shepherding children along, you're shy. Hey, you're doing this sport, but you're still a gentleman at the same time. And I think that's something that is remarkable. If you want, Alan, do you want to share a little bit about that aspect of your life, about what you want to become to children and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't mind talking about that. So I'm a Christian. I believe, my life's purpose is to, glorify God and bring people closer to Him. I'm well aware of all my faults, and if you ask people, I think probably the number one quality, and I really appreciate you pointing it out, is like I do try very hard. So my goal in life is to make the greatest impact and the greatest change that I can for Christ, and I believe that is a big part of that is just providing freedom for people. So I'm a big believer in truth, justice, and the American way, like Superman. It's kind of where it comes from, and I've held true to that because I believe if people have freedom, ultimately that's going to lead them towards Christ. And so I believe the United States of America provides that freedom for the most part, not always, but 99.9% of the time, and we do our best to fight back when it's not that way. And I think because of that, you've seen, now we have billions of followers, following Christ. And of course, you could say this, that, and the other, and I'm not here to nitpick that, but that's basically, I just want to be a part of that lineage and that process, and make make change on the mass level and not just kind of like the micro level. So yeah.
No, that's where we have a kindred spirit, Bodacious Suave. As I was telling Alan, we give all glory to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ Yeshua. Every podcast we do, if it wasn't for Him, we wouldn't be doing this. Again, all kidding and entertainment aside, we're doing this, ladies and gentlemen, for the greater good, for God's ultimate will and purpose, to provide something that's a little bit extra, but from our passion, from our heart, and from our souls, first and foremost. So that's why I think it's very refreshing to hear that, Alan. You really, obviously God put us in the same place at the same time for a reason, and I'm glad we're getting to do this now. Bodacious one, you got a question there?
Are we still on Power Slap, or you want to move forward?
Let's move forward a little bit. Let's give our wrestling fans a little bit of something to digest right now. We'll come back to Power Slap here and there. Go ahead, Bodacious one.
Who was your favorite wrestler as a kid? Shawn Michaels. If it's Shawn Michaels, I'm out of here right now. I'm telling you that right now. I'm out of here.
Alan, who is your favorite wrestler?
Oh, man, it's so hard. It's probably a toss-up between Hulk Hogan and I really love Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm not gonna lie, I loved his showmanship so much. So yeah.
Hulkster, man. Hulk Hogan, man. He didn't mention Bret Hart, unfortunately.
That's okay. That's okay, but because he's from, I'm guessing you're from San Antonio, Texas. Is that where you're from?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we all know that's where HBK's from, right? So I was like, oh, hometown boy, hero, or something. But hey,
sorry.
You got a good eye. You saw past that, and you saw talent somewhere else. So,
hey, Alan, we got our first super chat. A Bodacious Suave. This one's directed to you from our dear friend Red Fox. So let's bring it up on the screen right now. Bodacious Suave. How would Bret Hart fare in Power Slap? Oh dear.
All right.
Alan,
I'll let him answer it. He's allowed.
Yep.
I mean, I think he would do great. I think any of the wrestlers would do phenomenal. Honestly, like there's a few of them that think too much about the entertainment aspects. So you really have to zero in on the defense aspect, and everyone thinks there's not one. But I think he would do great. Yeah.
You think Bret Hart would do great?
I think Bret Hart of WWE days would do fantastic. Now, with his age and the stroke and the Bill Goldberg, it's not his place and time. But I think back then, I really think he, with those big man hands that he has, and I mean, he punched out Vince McMahon, so he has a good right hand.
He does. He can sock it to him. That's interesting. I wonder how Bret or someone like the Undertaker. My gosh, can you imagine if the Undertaker came in with that big gloved mitt
with that
Oh,
reach.
Yeah, or Kane,
It's not
perhaps.
my weight class. It's all good.
I was gonna say, yeah. So, but Alan, this is another thing we discussed. So you mentioned Hulk Hogan there. So, any memorable moments of wrestling? Anything? Because I know you're a fan of wrestling too. We did our thing in the ring Sunday, but like, what were the memorable moments as you growing up as a kid? What drew you to pro wrestling?
I just, probably just what anybody else was thinking is like you got these guys up there. They're incredible shape. They have a real sense of presence, and I feel like with Hulk Hogan, he was always, and that's like the hardest thing in today's world. Everybody's like underneath the microscope, and it's like, oh well, he did this one thing, or four things. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, but what did he live his life like? And I always just felt like he was, you know. I feel like he pushed the message that I aim to push, which is, it's like freedom, truth, justice, the American way. Christ is behind that. He was pointing towards God, and so that's what I remember. I remember just enjoying watching him, and then some of the movies that he did. Like I want to say he was on like a Three Ninjas movie,
Yeah.
and I just enjoyed the little things like that too. But it was like he just. I don't know. There's this aspect of it, and I don't want to put like nostalgia and say that like things were better back then. I think in a lot of ways they were, but and there's a lot of things that have improved too. But there is a way that men used to be back then that we're just not. And even guys like myself, and I'm sure you guys as well. It's like some of this modern culture blends into you. And I like to take a step back sometimes and just look back and see, sort of this gentleman culture. I don't know. Aristotle sort of mindset and things like that. So that's what stuck out to me. I just enjoyed all the matches. I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, let's go. Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah. No, but you're right. You're so right. I mean, that's something that Bodacious Suave are not afraid to talk about often. We honestly believe it was greater back then. I think you can say the athleticism today is better, 100%. I mean, that's true. But then you're not. It's not an athletic sport. It's entertainment. So you're missing the mark. Athleticism is one thing, but the end of the day, pro wrestling became a major phenomenon because it was entertainment. And I think, that's the key. But also you talk about these guys that were great role models. Again, this is something that Bodacious Suave we talk about it all the time, and Hulk Hogan, hey, Brandon, what's up? Hey, my partner Gunjack's in the chat. So be ready. Be ready. He's got some questions for you, Alan. My tag team partner, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just state that very clearly. Hulk Hogan, another one, again, you can do a few things, you do some things wrong in life, but when you measure it out, how much good did somebody do versus the few bad things that they did in darkness, in the shadows? I mean, obviously, if it was murder, that's a whole different subject. But when you slip, none of us are perfect. We know that. Only our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is. Not every one of us are faulted. We live in a fallen world, so that's not going to change anytime soon. But yeah, it's refreshing to hear again somebody who's kind of circling around professional wrestling now. Because I mean, do you have any aspirations yourself, Alan, of actually getting in the ring?
I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, maybe I could really. I'm nowhere near the my personal brand. It isn't quite as large as a Logan. I think it's Logan Paul that's in there, right? It's not. Yeah, it's Logan Paul. And it would be nice to kind of transition more into that professional setting, like right off the bat. Obviously, I don't want to discredit anybody's desire to pay dues first and go the traditional route, but I pay my dues through Power Slap and through mixed martial arts and traditional martial arts and the military and stuff. So I'm kind of hoping, this kind of catapults me into something in on that level, if possible. And even if it's like a one time or, I come around every once in a blue moon for a funny show or something like that. It's just like a little shtick. I would love that. I love showmanship and I love making people laugh. I appreciate you saying that, Bodacious, earlier. That was, it's something I enjoy doing, like giving people a smile and a little bit of showmanship, kind of like the greats. It's just like that's what they did. They made people laugh. They made people feel good about themselves. And and they inspired them to do something greater. So I think, ultimately, if I got an opportunity to do something like that, I would totally take it.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Well, it's good to know, Bodacious One. It's good to know that he's willing to step in the ring, because I was actually thinking, he could either step back into the ring with myself or
Whoa.
join
Any day.
Prince.
Any day.
I was
Time and
gonna,
place.
I was gonna say
Time and place.
I heard there's a promotion coming in California in the near future,
Yes, there is, in fact.
and maybe
yes.
maybe the two of you can duke it out. Who knows?
Yeah, Alan, you never know, because I am, of course, launching with my partners the Masters of Wrestling, an actual promotion. And we're going to be a TV style wrestling promotion. We're going to run once a month. High class, of course, nothing less. We are the Masters, of course. So maybe, Alan, again, I'm going to give you the opportunity. Either you're on the opposite side of the ring or you're standing on the same side of the ring with me. It's up to you. I mean, I've extended the olive branch. It's up to you. What do you think, viewers? Write in, leave us a super chat. Let us know. What do you think? Should Alan join the Victorian? Should he join myself and Gunjack, or should he stand against us and fall because of anybody who does? Hey, Bodacious One, we got some news. We got some news going on in the world of wrestling. Perhaps Alan can chime in with us on.
Go for it. Bring us up to
No,
speed.
I'm asking you. Do we have any news?
With that garbage that's going on? No, not that I'm up to speed, but I showed you that video of Tiffany Stratton there trying to rehearse jungle gym events there off ladders.
Oh, yes. So, Alan, one of the female wrestlers, again, very talented. She was practicing. I bet she was practicing some moves off of a ladder or something, right? Bodacious One. And
it almost went wrong, and she could have got really hurt. Thank God she didn't, but could have went wrong.
So what do you think about that, Alan? Because again, we have not held back here, and I think hardcore matches certainly have their place, like with Mick Foley back in the day when he was, he was pretty good, right? But some of these hardcore and over the top maneuvers, you often forget one false slip, one awkward turn, and you're dead or paralyzed. It's not worth that, but what do you think? I mean, in your estimation, do you think some of this hardcore stuff's going too far now? Some of these athletic moves, is this too far? Do you think they need to dial it back? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say, right? Like, I think if you can do it and it's authorized, then who am I to say you can't? It's like the gymnastics world. You see some moves that are illegal, but it's like, man, that would be cool to watch. And so on one end you're kind of like, yeah, I want people to be safe, but on the other end, it's like, is anything safe? If you drive in San Antonio, there's a good chance you might die just driving down the road. So it's like, if you love it and you really want to do it, I think you should be able to go for it, as long as it's not going to hurt anybody else. So.
I like your answer, Alan. You're impressing me every single step of the way here. I like this. True politician. The true politician you are, Alan. Thank you. This is fantastic. By the way, we have my tag team partner is in the chat. And yes, fans, I will address his question because he is my tag team partner. He does not have to accompany it with a super chat. So I'm going to show it on the screen right now. For my tag team partner, Gunjack, do sustained injuries on Power Slap, such as a broken tooth or fractured jaw, etc., get covered by the organization, or is each competitor financially responsible for themselves?
It's a great question. I think it's one of the best things about it. It's completely covered, and I mean, they check you out pretty thoroughly right after a match, especially if you receive a lot of damage. And then if they even deem even if they think it's just a microfracture or something like that, they'll send you to go get x-rays and a CT scan, and if needed, an MRI, and then they find out if it needs to be operated on, and if not, it's great. And then you go. I did several follow-up doctor's appointments, all paid for by the UFC and Power Slap, and after I got back home, and they're all the top specialists. They're not like some Joe Schmo. It's like, oh, we have the head of the Texas Medical Association creating appointments for you off the cuff, like talking to some guy because they need to get you in for a CT scan or to see a neurologist. And it's like, oh, well, we need this level of quality and we want to make sure you're doing okay. So, they go to the umpteenth degree and they use their connections and So it's not just like, oh, hey, we're just fitting the bill at some random local schmo. It is literally the world's best doctors looking at you, and it's the same for the UFC. So basically what it is as long as you claim within the first 30 days, you have up to a year after that to go and use like some obscene number of dollars as the cap towards your surgery. And honestly, like they put me up for an extra day after Abu Dhabi because my face swelled up even more like the second day. And so they were like, we're just going to keep it under watch. And, so it's an honor and a privilege because I feel like they could be like a lot of other promotions, but they don't. And they do a great job taking care of us.
The more you talk here, and in fact, somebody asked me to put up a poll. Should you join me, Alan? I mean, I think I've given you the answer already. I mean, you should. But, I should. Again, viewers, leave us your super chats. They help the chat. They help the episode move along. So give us your super chat, your questions. But let me know. What do you think? Should Alan join me? Because the more you talk about Power Slap, the more Bodacious Suave, I just see the dollar signs spinning around in my eyes right now. I can actually see them, the reflection on the screen right here. And I'm thinking, what if, Alan? What if there was a small faction in Power Slap? What if Alan was part of a master class of slappers, right? A master class of slap. Of course, people in England, forgive me, because in England, slappers means something completely different, which I'm not going to, that's up to you to do your research, ladies and gentlemen. But a master class of annihilators, all led by one mastermind, the master himself. What do you think about that, Alan? We could dominate Power Slap and make millions of dollars doing it. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
After the way you treated Sin Bodhi, no shot. I'll never join you.
Listen, Sin's on the verge too. After Sunday, he's on the verge. He's going to be joining us, no problem. Of course, Gunjack will be there. Bodacious One, you'll be there too. Someone said, I'm from the UK. I know what you mean. Ha ha ha. Yes, well, you know exactly what I mean, Matt. Yeah. So, but yeah.
What about merchandise? Do you think they can do merchandise? Are you guys allowed? Do you think in the future, perhaps your own gear?
Yeah. So I unfortunately gave out all of my personal merchandise, but if you go to headrush.com and you look at Power Slap, I have my own T-shirt through them, which is one of the official merchandise partners of Power Slap. So I've been blessed with that, and then we also have Leaf trading cards. I have they have like quite the variety of different cards with them. So I am trying to push out a personal merch line here in this next year. So I was looking to do it maybe before Christmas, but I was kind of like, if I'm being honest, I was waiting to see if I was basically there were a couple of apparel lines. One of them, our official partners, was talking about maybe sponsoring me. That fell due to their personal situation. So so now going forwards, I'm thinking about just doing a personal merch line, and then that can help fund doing XYZ and blowing things up, and so for me it's all fun. It's about like building up the sport as well as myself and building that personal brand like you're talking about. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen, I'm sure you have seen, like, people want to get into this, and then after their first fight they're like, holy crap, like, it's not what I thought. I guess I'm not as tough as I thought I was, or Jesus, that hurt. And you never see them again, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
You're seeing a lot of those.
There's been a lot of fighters, so a lot of people think like, because we only have 100. Well, so I can't even speak to the number that we have now because we had 150, maybe more, contracted fighters with multi-fight contracts, and I honestly don't know how many we have now. I know that like the combines alone, we've probably had at least 250 to 500 people come through for those, and that doesn't mean they've competed. But then on top of that, you got early prelims that people don't really see, and so you don't really notice like how many early prelims we had people come, show up, do one fight, and then never show back up. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it's just them. They're like, I don't want to do this anymore. So, yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's very alluring. If we talk about the pay for a moment here, Alan, we're allowed to do that because it's public knowledge. So again, for those who are watching right now, for some of our loyal subscribers. Again, if you are watching this, make sure you powerplex that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the likes, follow everybody on their social medias, and make sure you tell them that, Alan, the Kryptonian, the Bodacious Suave, and myself, the Master Amir, shout it to the rooftops that we're the greatest of all time. But nonetheless, so the pay for Power Slap, how much do people get just to show up to the venue?
So I can't talk about it. I mean, you guys can talk about it if you have public knowledge of that. I can't personally say that on this. So
okay, so I'm not going to say it either then, because I was waiting for your directive. Okay, so students, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know that, you're going to have to sign up, and you're going to have to talk to the powers that be. We will not divulge that information, as we are very careful here. It's
an NDA, and they're very powerful people, and I love them. So I'm not going to tell you.
Don't worry, we're not going to be going down that path. But Acious One, do you want to bring us back to a little bit of pro wrestling now for our wrestling contingent here?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Dominic Mysterio, sure you're familiar with this individual, Alan.
Oh yeah. It's been a while, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah. He obviously, and I guarantee you, if he walked up to the Power Slap podium, he'd be eliminated first time out. Guarantee you.
Do you really think so?
Yeah, the mustache would fly right off.
Mustache would come right off. The mullet may fall off. But nonetheless, sad for him. Again, all joking aside, he's been injured severely. Severe shoulder injury. He took place in Mexico over the weekend, I guess. Could be facing shoulder surgery and out for a year. Potential. So my question, I pose it to you both. Do you honestly think that if he's out for a year, do you think when he comes back, he's going to have the momentum that he has now? Or do you reckon it's all going to just drop, crash, and burn? Alan, I'll pose that to you first.
Oh, man. I believe in a comeback, right? So there's been twice now where I was gone. One time I was gone for 8 months, and then, due to like military deployments and stuff, I couldn't compete for 13 months before I knocked out Luke Simons at Power Slap 13. And then, that launched me into my title opportunity. So I was always kind of right there, had a few matches. And then, because I knocked out the number one guy, should have immediately got the title match based off of that. But the guy who's currently the champion dropped down from heavyweight, and they gave him that opportunity. He won the belt. So that's kind of that rivalry we have. He's too good of a guy for me to be like honestly mad about it. But yeah, so with that in mind, I think a comeback is totally possible, and you can be bigger than the last time you're out, because sometimes that lack of you, like not only does it draw in like new people, it creates this hype that I feel like brings in a whole new crowd half the time, because people are like, who is this guy? I haven't even seen him. So
yeah, plus
he's Mysterio. Yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Especially if he comes back without the mustache, without the mullet, perhaps he bulks up 20 or 30 pounds. I mean, this could be a very big reality. But again, Bodacious One, you know what I think of the Beanpole, Dominic Mysterio. But I mean, what do you think yourself? Do you think if he goes out for a year, he's done, toast, or do you think he can make a comeback?
No, I think they see something in him, so I'm sure they'll push him. They're the ones who control it, right? They're the machine, so I'm sure the machine will get behind him, and if they think he's money, they're like, they're probably shitting their pants now, because they'll probably lose him for a year. WrestleMania's around the corner, but they'll probably try to find a way to get it back as soon as he's cleared and put the motor behind him.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm going to have to ask Uncle Paul over Christmas, because, I read Fox. I see your comment there. I'm not going to address it on the screen.
Matt Bannister, welcome aboard.
Oh, yes, Matt. Thank you for laying the smack down on that subscribe button. He's been watching over on the Café de René. Yes, thank you, Matt. It's a pleasure to have you here. You mentioned something there, Alan, though, because you said, obviously it being competition and all, right? Yeah. You getting in, some guy slaps you and maybe gets one over on you. Animosity. Does that exist? True animosity backstage. Just say some guy comes up, slaps you, he goes over on you. I mean, obviously you're a gentleman, so I wouldn't even put you in that league. But say somebody else who's a little rough around the edges, all right? Hasn't been raised like you and I, perhaps, obviously like me, obviously with the silver spoon. But people a bit rough around the edges. is there animosity? Does it boil over to backstage if some guy beats a guy? You've seen that?
Yeah, I mean, I've had it. Like I lost by split decision on the TV show, and it wasn't supposed to count towards my record regardless. It was supposed to be like an exhibition thing, you know. And they went ahead and put it on my real record, and it hyped up this guy named Luke Simons, who I ended up knocking out. But the truth of the matter was, there was some massive illness going through the house, and I showed up late. So everybody else was coming off this illness. I got it like a few days before I went out, you know, to compete. And the truth of the matter was, the guy didn't even move me out of the box. And you know, I was moving them all over the stage and everything. And there were a lot of people that thought I won. And for whatever reason, there were some bad judges at the time that they've gotten rid of. And I will say that, and I feel comfortable saying it because they did end up getting rid of them, because they did to the UFC people too. So it's like, but the problem was, it wasn't that occurred because I could have just kept it in the professional setting, but that guy's girlfriend and him just went on and on and on about how like he's supposed to be one of the best and da 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 da, and you know, this that, and the other. It's like, you lost by split decision. You didn't even move me out of the box. Like, you didn't have any significant strikes that, like, you know, and I was ill, and I told him that, and I said it in a couple interviews, and I kind of left it alone. But I was like, I told him behind stage, I was like, we both know that I was like super ill that day, and I was like, if I get another chance with you, I'm gonna knock you out. And sure enough, one day, you know, 13 months later, I get a call from Erica. At the time, you know, obviously Justin has taken over, but she's like, hey, do you want to fight Luke Simons? And I couldn't care less up until about 6 months out. Him and his girlfriend just kept doubling down and like just throwing dirt at my name, and I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this is just absolutely wild. I cannot let some kid just go on and talk about it when he didn't even like if he had knocked me out or something, I would be like, all right, the kid's got, you know, power or whatever. But it was just driving me nuts because they kept giving him opportunities, and they're giving them these like chumps to just knock him out and then, like, you know, move on and get ranked higher. And anyway, so that animosity existed. There was another guy named Austin Turpin. We were really good friends in the beginning, and then we had to face each other. He dropped down from heavyweight to light heavyweight, and he's the only person to knock me down. And I learned a lot from that day, but he did a great job of getting in my head. So, but it was the hardest thing because I did have animosity in my heart going out there. He just trash talked me. And I mean, he's really good at trash talking. He's the exact heel that you want in life. He curses a little too much, I'm not gonna lie, so it's kind of his problem. But outside of that, like, even Power Slap loves him. They're like, if he could just get because he's got to go back up to heavyweight now because he couldn't manage to keep his weight at the light heavyweight level.
Yeah.
And he came in like 3 times, I think, maybe 4 times. And anywho, he yeah, I don't know. We're back to being friends now, but you know, there was like a good 5 or 6 months where, like, before and after the match, where I was like, I was mad. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Like, someone's a good buddy with you, and then they're just trash talking you, and they're saying all this other stuff. Power Slap's boosting them at the same time, and I mean, he said some nasty things. So I was like, it's not cool, bro. Talk about my wife, my family, and stuff. And he kind of dialed it back and apologized for some of my family stuff, and we agreed not to talk about it. But you know, it's just, I don't know how else to explain it, man. I was mad. I was like, if this was a real fight, I would beat the crap out of you. Like,
Yeah, I know, of course. I mean, there's certain lines, there's certain parameters we don't want to hit. What about the degenerate Luke that you mentioned earlier? What about this young kid? You mentioned he was a kid, so I presume he's a young, probably not educated, correct?
yeah, he's from Georgia and he moved to Texas, and he's not the most educated guy in the world, but he is smart when it comes to like working out science. I don't know what to call that, but like whatever that physiology like sort of stuff. You know, he's very aware of that kind of thing, and so, which is crazy to me because any other part of the conversation, you're like, sometimes they'll just go on. He's like super slow, and you're like, oh my god, are there any brain cells up there? And then like the rest of the time, he's like on point with science and mathematics, and you're like, why can't you translate that into other anyway, so it doesn't matter.
is Bodacious One, you see where I'm going with this? I think you see where I'm going with this.
Keep going.
Yeah, I think you see where I'm going with this. Is this young Skywalker, is he still in Power Slap right now, or is he been excommunicated? Oh, he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think he lost out on a match. He like backed out for some reason, so he'll probably be sidelined for a little bit. But
give him time to think, perhaps grow up. Yeah,
I think so. And I mean, I don't even think like I don't even have real animosity towards him. It's kind of like this weird professional dynamic to where I was like, I wasn't even mad at the guy. Like we would sit down and have like coffee, and I'd be talking to him, and the whole time I'm thinking to the back of my head, I'm like, I'm so ticked at you, but I'm like, I'm not ticked at you. I'm ticked at like the professional side of it. You know, it's like it's just business at the end of the day. And the
Yeah.
person who really was bad was his girlfriend. She would just say the craziest stuff, and I was like, dude, like you gotta get, hold on your lady. Just because she
Shouldn't
is
shouldn't
flying
be
off the, yeah.
shouldn't be getting involved, man. I've said it before. Bodacious, you've heard me say this. Mr. Becky Lynch himself, Mr. Seth Rollins. Obviously another one. Who allows his lady to get involved ahead of him. But that's by the by. I'm just more interested to know if this Luke can even be, because you see what I would like to see, Alan.
Mhm.
Me personally, obviously you being part of the masterclass here, is I'd like to see you wipe the floor with this Alan degenerate once more. So could this potentially be a rematch? Could this potentially happen again, or is it out of the ballpark?
I mean, it'll be a while. I knocked him out real clean. So I basically knocked him out on the first round. He got back up somehow. And then that second one, I mean, he was out. So, like, it'll be a while before we go for a rematch there. And honestly, like, in my heart of hearts, I think, I'm a little too much like this guy here. And, I hope the best for him. And I always try to make friends out of my enemies, but I hope he comes back. I mean, he's good for the sport and he's good, generally. I don't know that, like, what do you call those people? Like gatekeepers? I know it's kind of a mean thing to say about somebody, but unless he, like, really makes this pivotal change, and maybe he could, I think he would be more of, like, ranked 4 and 5 for a long time, kind of being that gatekeeper to, like, see who's ready to make it up towards, a top 3 spot. Yeah.
Really interesting to hear about this. The certain guys having to move up the ladder. Obviously the backstage drama, pardon me, that's unfolding as well. I mean, that's sounds just like professional wrestling.
Well, I was going to ask: is there politics backstage?
I'm sure there are. To me, everything's just relationships and negotiations at the end of the day. So it's one or the other, right? So it's what level of relationship do you have with somebody, and what are you able to negotiate in that moment, and what do you provide to the situation? So it's like, ask now what you can do for your country. What can you do for your country? So and I bring that into every aspect of my life. So when I'm in there, I try to make the best of the situation. Honestly, everybody looks at me like I'm the Boy Scout or this, that, and the other, and I'm often kind of misunderstood because I'm not, in that realm of like, I don't like, there is a part of me that will go out and drink to be sociable with those guys and stuff like that. And so there's a little bit of a wild child there, but I'm very dialed back from everybody else. It's like, with
Yes.
that in mind, everybody knows I'm a professional. And so a lot of people come to me to ask questions. And then when I go, like, I think the top brass, they keep like a tight boundary with me because I'm not always just shooting the breeze with them. Like, they know I'm a businessman when it comes to some of this stuff, and I like strategize. So if they tell me something, I take it to heart, and I move forwards with it, and I love it because that's how they treat me. But yeah, so there's politics and there's social dynamics that are very unique. I don't even know. It's a real like super weird place because everybody hated the sport, right? Like, I'm just gonna go. I'll just keep this real short, but like everybody hated the sport when we first started. So anybody that was involved, and there was like a core group of like 30 guys to 50 guys somewhere in there. And I want to say it was like 30, maybe 35. We are all very good friends, even if we didn't like each other, because it was kind of like sink or swim. No one likes us. We got to find a way to keep pushing the sport forwards and promote ourselves and promote the business and, be brand ambassadors, but keep our personalities. And what they were looking for in the beginning was more of that like crass sort of stuff to kind of reach out to, specific group types. But as the sport continues to grow and be more professional, they've moved away from some of that, and they've had multiple meetings where like, hey, you're gonna need to change, all of you, like, start dressing nicer, like act more professional, treat your social media more professional, and things like that. And there was a pivotal moment where that happened. I couldn't nail down the exact moment it was, but it was sometime within the past year and a half. I think maybe like 18 months ago, 2 years ago, somewhere in there. So, but initially, yeah, it was all these guys that were just like They were hilarious, and they were baddies. I loved all of them, but they, whew, wild child. So this social dynamic now, it's very weird. We got all these like WWE guys. They're a little cliquish, but they're not, and we're kind of blending over finally now. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I was very excited to be at that event because it was kind of like, it is. It's all, it's like you're on one side of the line, like we don't really know these guys, but then the more people get involved with each other, the easier and the bigger your network becomes, and you become more family. And like to me, that's what it's about because this business is so cutthroat. If you're not able to like reach out to somebody, even somebody you don't like, and just be like, if they ask you a question or vice versa, to just have the professional dignity to go, hey, yeah, like this is my honest opinion. You need me to reach out to somebody on your behalf, like I can do that. And of course, yes, this is the most long-winded way to answer your question. I apologize, but this is the reality of this sport, which has got to be like the WWE is the only thing I can think. It's got to be like every freaking professional sport. It's like I don't know what's going on. These guys know what's going on. These guys know what's going on. And then we all have our idea of what's going on. And this person will feed information here, here, and here. And sometimes something pans out. Sometimes it doesn't. And it's really just like when that contract comes, hopefully that's what happens, right? Like, and due to the realities of life, it's just sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. And that's it. Yeah, that's basic. I don't know if that answers your question very well or not, but
No.
hopefully.
No, it definitely gave some good insight into the backstage world. It sounds very similar to professional wrestling. Obviously, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. That's the way it's going to be in any business in life. Nothing's going to be different there. But I do like the fact that, like you said, they cleaned it up. One of the things I talk about often is, again, you think that you're going to be a top guy for a company, then you're going to have to be a professional. They're not going to let somebody in there who cusses every 5 minutes, goes out on social media, acts like a fool. There are many of them. They're never going to get that spot. They're never going to get that position. You're going to have to show that you can conduct yourself in a professional setting, much like our former friend now, Bodacious Suave, the doctor of thugonomics, Johnny C, John Cena himself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you got any questions, use the super chats. That's what they're there for on YouTube. That helps this channel move along. That helps the conversation grow, as it were. So use the super chats if you got a question for Alan while we got him on, or Bodacious Suave, or myself, the master. So Bodacious one, you got something?
Yeah. So I'll just throw out. I'm a fan of Sheena Bathory. Okay?
Oh yeah, let's go.
She's very, very pretty. She's strong. And what I like is that she like I like just be normal. Like too much crowd stuff, like too much like ripping off shirts and like her, she'll knock someone out and she's just still calm and whatever. And I like that about her. But you were talking earlier about like defense mechanisms, right?
Yeah.
How the hell do you train for that? Like just what are little tricks? Do you bite your teeth? You crunch up, you lean on the table, your feet. I have no idea. I'm just curious.
Well, without giving away too many trade secrets, right? Like we have to wear a mouthpiece, and they put cotton swabs in your ear, and that reduces specific impacts, and like not allowing your eardrums to burst. But yeah, it's the way you brace your body. Like sometimes they'll put you up in a certain way, and there is a standard way that you're supposed to stand. And it is like a natural stance almost. Almost no one does it though. Almost everybody like flexes, here and like doing this, that, and the other, and they move in some sort of way that benefits them, right? And like in this last match, I moved a little bit like this, mostly out of I don't know, like a twitch or something. I couldn't even see out of my left eye after the second round, and I had 4 more rounds. So like it just kind of gives you some insight there. I was like,
is that the one where is that the one where you're woo to the crowd?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you had to see. I don't know. Did you need stitches for that? I remember you got like a big cut on your cheek there.
No, I mean it just heals up. I like. I will tell you that like I have a unique like genetic component. I heal up like very well for some reason. I'm not really sure why that is. So, I was swollen a lot more on this one. I got hit a lot more times than I normally do, but normally I don't even bruise up very much, even if I got hit real hard. So, yeah, it just.
So everyone's technique is different, pretty much. Because I do notice some people, everyone stands a different way. So you what is it, trial and error? You find just what works for you.
I think so. I mean, like I'm still trial and error. Like there's 6 different, maybe 7 different slaps that I do. Um, and I have one that was like very popular in the beginning, and that was kind of a shtick that I was doing. Like I trained real professional mixed martial arts, and I, trained like Olympic level Taekwondo when I was younger, and so I know how to like increase my speed and use my body's mechanics to achieve much higher speeds, and so I could wind up very quickly and then deliver a slap. And everybody really liked it, but I changed it because I wasn't delivering enough power. And so there's an overhand technique. So like there's a generic 3 ways you can slap, and then there's variations of that. So the newest one I saw, there was some tall girl, and I thought it was really crazy. I'll do it for the camera a little bit, but she was
Amir,
able.
let's put your face up.
Yeah, they.
You wish,
Um,
you wish Bidacious suave. Anyway, go ahead, Alan.
yeah. She's like, I can't recall if she did it outward or inward, but I want to say maybe it was inward. She like swung her arm back.
Uh-huh.
She turns it inward, and then as she comes back to deliver, she's creating more torque that way. Is the only thing I could think. But I thought it was really interesting. That's the newest one I've seen that I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I might add that to my repertoire. Yeah.
And is there coaches that guide you and show you techniques and practice and
Yeah, and I mean the hardest thing for me is like some of these things are really new. So like the combine is so key. And when I went out to do the TV show, you can see it night and day. Like the first round that the guys do, they have no training. They look very sloppy. You guys are just getting like completely schlepped. And then second rounds that they're doing, where we came in and trained them. And of course, it takes like 3 or 4 days to really narrow it in. And a lot of it is just strength and conditioning. Um, you know. I would say plyometrics are key. Everyone's got their thing that they think is there. I think cardio, plyometrics, and your strength, which is pretty much any sport that you do. But I don't think people pay enough attention to it. I think they finally did, but it was a long time before we kind of got there. And so now it is about techniques because there is a way to brace yourself. And the utilization of muscles, like the timing of when you bite down on the mouthpiece, can actually reduce the impact because of the elasticity in your muscles and stuff like that. So if you bite down too hard for too long prior to getting slapped, you are essentially allowing more energy to be transferred over into the brain, right? So because these like in, I would say it's similar in fighting. You don't want to bite down the whole time. You want to wait before like you should be like clinched in a little bit, but not like fully engaged, because that's what's happening. It's like they're hardening. You don't want hard. You want a little bit of cushion, but engaged. So that's basically, you want to wait till a certain point, you engage that. There's a certain way you brace your body, and it depends on your body type too. So I can't say it's a cookie cutter way for everybody, but yeah, it's just like basic things like that, man. Like it's just it sounds silly, but you really can, like, that there's a lean in and then there's a slight movement. And I've done both. I'll probably switch back over into a little bit of a lean into it. You're not really supposed to do that, but if you go back and watch my last guy, he does it every single time. Like people just don't really notice when you do this as opposed to this. So, like, oh, and this is the slightest movement ever. I'm barely moving my head, but that's what everybody on the camera will be like, he's flinching, and it's like, this is actually a flinch, right? Like, as opposed to, and you might like, there's flinch. That's kind of like I'm biting down and I'm kind of moving my head, and you're allowed to bite down and move your head. And there's this whole thing about the rules. It's a sport at the end of the day, and it's just kind of like, oh, that's a foul, that's not a foul, or they didn't throw a flag on the play, like, oh my god, or that's not a touchdown. It's like his foot's there, it's not there. Did he catch it? Did he have both hands? It's like, it's just
yeah.
I got one more question, then Amir, you can take over. Sorry, I'm just curious because I watch Power Slap and I see everyone different techniques, etc. But what about closing your eyes? To me, sounds like there's no benefit to doing that.
To closing the eyes?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've had okay, you go back and watch Power Slap 7 and you see Colton Cole. One of his first hits, people do it to me all the time. He completely fouls me. His thumb goes straight into my eye. If I didn't have it closed, I would have been screwed. So I had like the worst black eye I've ever had in like a fight, just simply from a thumb going in.
Wouldn't you be more like receptive to getting KO'd if your eyes were closed because you're just too relaxed or something?
Yeah,
Maybe
I could be totally wrong. Visualization, you know what I mean? So like it, so when I throw a back kick, right? Like if I'm throwing a spinning back kick, I can't see what's about to happen to me, but I can, based on someone's timing, I can tell my brain, like, okay, as I'm doing the spinning kick, I know that they're coming towards me at this speed or whatever else. You've set up the timing, and that's the same with power slap, right? I see their wind up. I've seen them slap before. Like, we're way past like the early stages where you don't know who you're facing unless it's a very brand new person. But like, at the higher ranks, it's like, okay, I've seen this person slap before. I know what they're capable of. Been watching them practice all week. I know when I go to close my eyes towards the end that I'm still engaged. I'm not relaxed at all. Like, my muscles are completely tight. And that's probably the hardest thing about the sport. You have to be fully present in it. It's like acting. You can't even be the slightest bit away, because like you'll just get knocked out. And you're exactly right about that, but it's just being mindful of it. It's like, okay, so I see the hand coming. I'm closing my eyes now as like a protective measure. My face, my jaw, my facial muscles are all engaged. I'm squinching. My neck muscles are engaged. I'm in traps, all jazz. Fully engaging my back muscles. Okay, I got impact, and now it's about breathing. So like the moment of impact, like the moment I feel it, I'm starting to breathe, and you can't release your muscles right away. So it's kind of like this weird, okay, I got impacted. I'm letting it ride through a little bit. Okay, now I'm letting go and I'm breathing, and just trying to focus on being a little entertaining in response so that they know that I'm fully coherent. Crowd loves it, getting that oxygen to the brain and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway, that's like the nerd about it. Yeah, if you're really wondering.
That's good though. It's good explanation, because a lot of people are they don't understand how you can do this. Now the rules. I've got a question again from my pro wrestling tag team partner, Gunjack. He's up top in the chat. One thing I did want to ask. Obviously, there's rules and regulations. And of course, I'm always thinking, Alan. I'm always thinking, how can we take this thing over? Is there, for example, if I was to go and recruit somebody? Let me just pose this question. If I was to recruit you, for example, and I sent you into Power Slap, and I was your quote-unquote manager, and I had a stake in your victory earnings, how is that viewed upon in the Power Slap committee?
Like, a lot of people don't have managers right now. I just took one on simply because they they bring a lot of, like, who they are. They bring a lot of negotiation power, and they're very good friends with everybody, and he's very realistic. And I'm at the end of my contract, so renewal is coming up, and I need somebody that can do right by me. And I'm in a full agreement with him that, like, if he can help me, and if he can't, he's not going to charge me any money, right? So, but there are plenty of fly-by-night guys that are like coming in here trying to make money, and I've been a part of two. Well, I've been a part of one, almost was a part of two, I should say, but and they do a great job. They got the connections. They look legit. Kind of entertainment industry, like loose, like, oh, well, we're going to get this thing done on that day, and they're going to pay you in this way. And I mean, that happens in the entertainment industry all the time. So some of it seems legit, and then you get to this point where it's like, oh, this person's really just in it for themselves, and they're stealing money from people, or they're not taking like, they'll claim they're the manager, so that fighter isn't engaging anymore with the promotion. And then so even the promotion just started saying, screw it, we're just going to contact the fighters directly until this gets so big that we can't do that anymore. But they still text us and have us involved, because there were a couple of times where, like, people had a lot of money. That was some of the bigger guys, like, their managers that helped them initially started taking money that they shouldn't. And they shot down matches that would have, like, built their career up even more and things like that. So it's very relevant. Yeah, it's a great question. And it's standard. Like, typically they'll come in and they'll say the standard fee, but, like, those contracts are really, like, and I'm sure it's the same for the WWE. It's like they have these weird stipulations in there, and so somebody could abuse it. You could fight it, and you probably don't owe them any money at the end of the day, because you also have to be a licensed agent in order to operate in certain states and stuff like that. So like, anyway, that's a long, I don't need to go into that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's good.
No worries, man. No worries, man. It's just, no, but I was just curious. Of course, I'm not soliciting. I don't need to do that. They need to solicit me to come into the Power Slap and be who I am there to help propel talent, to help create narratives. Bodacious, you know. But I'm going to put my tag team partner's question on the screen. He says, from Gunjack, successful people tend to love what they do. That being said, would it be advisable to join Power Slap just for the money and not necessarily for the love of the sport?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Personally, and Gunjack, I know if you're watching this, no, you are not joining Power Slap. Bodacious Suave?
I don't think you would last.
If you don't love it. No.
If there's no passion in anything, whether it's fitness, wrestling, baseball, hockey, they can see it.
Yeah.
And your heart won't be in it. Your training will suck, and you're just going to screw yourself long term. If you're looking for a quick fight, whatever money it is they're offering you, well, you might just get one payday. You're going to blow it, and then your career's done, and you're back at $0. So I think if there's no passion, don't bother.
Yeah, I would have the tendency to agree with the same thing there, Alan, because your passion, you're doing this for multiple reasons, and you're somebody who's primed to do this. If somebody just walks in off the street and think to themselves, hey, I want to make a quick buck, then really they're kind of, for me, that's a dangerous motivation, because you're not properly trained, you're not properly prepared, you don't even know if you can handle it. You're just going for the dollar signs. You're seeing them in your eyes, but you're not. Again, anything you do in life, you have to be passionate. You know, like we are. We're passionate about professional wrestling. I love it. I want to get it back to its glory days. You know, I will do anything to get it back to that level. Same as the Bodacious Suave. And we believe that, but we're passionate. I'm not going to come to Power Slap just for, first of all, I don't need the money, number one. Number two, you know, it's not my thing. It's not my calling. God has not called me to do that. We talked about this on Sunday night. God's opened this door for you. This is something that you have walked down because you have allowed God to be the guiding force in your life. And he guided you to this. So there's a difference there, you know, same thing, you know, we're being guided by God doing this right here. That's why we do wrestling, you know? So I think, I would say you've got to have passion as well. You've got to be passionate about it. You can't just do something for money. Can you imagine a wrestler who comes into the wrestling business just for money? Well,
don't start, Amir. There's a bunch of them already. Master, wake up. Where's the coffee there, Master? Wake up.
I walked into that one. I did walk into that one today. Seriously. But coming back to a little bit of wrestling as well, because we are the masters of wrestling after all, even though we will become the masters of Power Slap as well. Bodacious one. Any other relevant news for us? Because obviously, you know, it's Monday Night Raw. What was it? Monday Night Raw yesterday or today? What day is it today? Monday, Tuesday? I forget. It's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday here in Canada. I don't know where you are, buddy, but
listen, I'm visiting another one of my palatial manors. I'm in
your chateau mansions.
My chateaus right here. I'm somewhere else now. I'm not going to divulge where I am exactly in the world. I will be traveling again. I did happen to see somebody earlier on, and I said to him, I said, "Oh, what's with all the kerfuffle out here? What's with all the mess?" He says, "It's Christmas in a couple of days." I said, "What? It's Christmas in a couple of days?"
Oh yeah.
This is how busy I have become. Bodacious Suave. I forgot it was Christmas.
Pardon me, eh?
Yeah. So, I mean, how about you, Alan? You prepared for this Christmas season?
You know, I think I'm in the same boat. I've been so busy that I guess it's kind of it's just another holiday for me. I love the ability to get to be with people that I love, but yeah, man, I'm still building. So, you know, that's got to be my focus right now.
Yeah. Bodacious Suave. Sorry. Somebody wants to wrestle you in the chat. Somebody actually does want to wrestle you. So, again, if they can come up with the marquee, if they can come up with the money.
Any place, any time.
Let's go.
Again, if you want to ask a question, if you want me to answer it on the screen, you must use a super chat or a super sticker. The only exception to that rule is my tag team partner Gunjack from the Victorians. So, but that's the rule we keep here on the Masters. So we keep here on the Cafe de Rene. We do exactly the same thing. So use the super chats and the super stickers if you want to answer your question live on the air. Badesh Swaf, coming back to the question I gave you, any other wrestling news, pertinent news that you know of?
I'm just going to create something here. I know I've been saying Sami Zayn on the Royal Rumble.
Sami Zayn. Are you familiar with who this is, Alan? Sami Zayn?
I believe so. I've been networked with these WWE guys, so I think I know who you're talking about, yeah.
He doesn't shave and he doesn't comb his hair.
Doesn't shower, you mean?
Doesn't shower either. Sami Zayn. But anyway, Badesh Swaf.
I don't know. I had another thing this morning. I'm like, do you think maybe Joe Hendry would win it?
You know who Joe Hendry is, right, Alan?
I'd have to see a picture. I'm not gonna lie.
Not missing anything.
Got bleach blonde. Okay, so I tussled with this guy in TNA earlier this year.
And he kicked your ass.
No, he didn't. What happened? What happened was he was amped up. He was going against Trick Williams, NXT guy, tremendous individual. Of course, I shared cocktails and drinks with him at the end of the night. Tremendous individual, but nonetheless, Joe Hendry. He was in TNA, and he's a guy. I believe he's from Scotland, right? Badesh Swaf, a Scottish guy.
Yeah,
from the far north of England, and he has an entrance theme that happened to grab the attention of some of the simpletons.
Sing it for us, Amir.
I'm not going to sing this ridiculous song, but Aisha Swaf.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Please, it's like it's
incredible.
Yes, it's beyond horrific. Let's just say that. But anyway, he's become this. I guess he's popular with the kids, the little kiddies, the little children. And they're trying to push him. I believe he's under a WWE contract, right?
Yeah, he is. I believe he is. Yeah.
Okay, so he's under a WWE contract now. Of course, Sami Zayn has his heritage is linked to the Saudi Arabia, right? Was he Syrian or something?
Yeah, you got it. You nailed it.
Okay, so we're suggesting maybe Sami wins the Royal Rumble, because obviously in Saudi Arabia they want obviously someone of their lineage perhaps to be the victor. Now, I personally, of course, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I will be today. I don't think Sami Zayn deserves to be the winner of the Royal Rumble. I will just state that right now. But Aisha's one.
No, I agree too. I mean, I'm not seeing anybody coming in hot on that roster, to be honest. And I'm not trying to be negative, but from what I see, I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, it's him. I'm not gonna lose my mind.
No.
Everything's kind of just dry and bland.
Mm-hmm. So let's look at the Royal Rumble in situation. We'll bring you in, Alan, because I don't want you to feel like you're not part of the discussion here, even though it is wrestling, not power slap.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. So now, Seth Rollins, the Sam Smith knockoff, he's out. He's been injured. Now the Beanpole, Dominic Mysterio, gone. So now who do we have left in our main picture here in the Royal Rumble combatants? Who do we have? Badesh Swaf.
Maybe you must have 30 Samoans in the Royal Rumble this year, no?
What's that?
You must have 30 Samoans in the Royal Rumble this year.
Well, let's look at that. We have Jacob Fatu, obviously, I'm sure. One of the best talents they have actually right now. One of the most. You familiar with Jacob Fatu, Alan?
No, sir.
Okay, well, he's one of the Samoan dynasty lineage. Tremendous guy. He's a throwback to, wrestlers of old who knew how to do it the right way. He's definitely one of those. I see Red Fox says the first all Samoan Royal Rumble. Could happen, Red Fox. But yeah, I'd say him. I'm seeing some other numbers. Drew McIntyre, of course. Is Drew in the Royal Rumble this year?
Oh, I'm sure you have to be, right?
my opinion, Drew McIntyre should be running the WWE. He should be the champion in WWE, and anybody else who wants to be a champion needs to aim to become like Drew McIntyre. Otherwise, get out.
Wow.
That's my opinion.
That's
cool. You know who Drew McIntyre is, yeah? Yeah. So, but do you honestly think Sami Zayn's going to win Bodacious one?
Not based, just because WrestleMania, like I can just see the Saudi Arabia thing. That's the only reason why. Not because of size and talent and money. I don't think he's the biggest draw. I mean, I think
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
He is over somewhat as a baby face, as a heel. I don't think it would work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless it's Jericho, maybe. I don't know.
Jericho. Yeah, you know, Alan, Chris Jericho, his deal with AEW. He's abandoning ship. He's abandoning the sinking ship, and he's swimming back to the shoreline of the WWE. And he's going to be finishing his career there. Obviously, he could be Y2J again. We don't know. But it looks like he's on his way back. Could be. You know, Saudi. You know what they love in Saudi, Alan? They love the legends in Saudi Arabia. They want the legends to win. So I think if Chris Jericho is the man returning, he's going to be the man of the hour. I think.
Do you agree? Like in the next maybe 2-3 weeks, it'll be easier to figure out because we'll see kind of where they're going. You know, the titles will be on the line, obviously, but you know the guy's going to win because he has to keep the belt till Royal Rumble. But you'll kind of get an idea of who they're building within the next 2-3 weeks. Who's on TV more? Who's more TV time, promos, etc.
Mm-hmm.
That's their formula. But since we have Power Slap on, I see a lot of people in the chat are asking this question, Amir. Who would you love to power slap in the WWE right now?
Who I would like to power slap in the WWE? Gosh. I mean, do I have more than one option here?
Sure. Unlimited, buddy.
Who I'd like to power slap straight out of the WWE?
Well, let's go. Mount Rushmore. Name them all.
Okay. I'd love to power slap, first of all, his glasses straight off his face. Jey Uso, Mr. Yeet. Okay. Straight off of his face. Right out of there. On my list after that probably would be Eyebrows himself, the man who came back thinking he was a hot shot. I forgot his name. I think his last name is Theory, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Austin Theory.
Yeah. I'd like to power slap his eyebrows right off his face. And then after that, who else is? I'm trying to blank. Who else is some of them? Of course, Mr. Guile, Mr. Street Fighter himself, Cody Rhodes. I'd like to slap the bleach blonde hair right off of his head.
What about your beanbag friend there? No,
he's already been eliminated. But if I slapped him, all the beans would fly out of him, so he would be even smaller.
You would send him right to New Mexico, wouldn't you?
No, I would. No, I would send him right back. I'd send him into permanent retirement. Old Dominic.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's calm down with the threats here, pal.
Yeah.
You know, it's a family show.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It is a family. Who would you, Alan, like to power slap in WWE?
Yeah. I think it would be cool. Oh gosh, I am terrible with names. So it's Cody Rhodes, is that right? With the beach blonde hair?
Cody Rhodes, yes, with the
Cody Rhodes.
Yes, the fake hair.
Yeah.
Fake.
Why though? You have to tell why.
Why?
I don't know. He just looks like he'd be fun to power slap, man. I don't know.
He looks like he would cry, wouldn't he, Alan? It looks like he'd probably cry.
Yeah, he looks like he'd be real tough, and then I would hit him, and then he'd be like, "I'm out of here." You know, he'd just like walk off the stage.
He'd probably cry. He would. I'm Bodacious one. Do you think he would cry? Tear up?
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I don't think he would. I don't think it would be that, but maybe a tear might just, you know,
streak down his
little salty discharge would fall out.
Wow.
Just a little like so sad, sympathy vote and all, you know,
right?
So, who would you like to power slap, Bodacious Suave?
Charlotte Flair.
Wow, you know what? Kudos, Bodacious Suave. You know what?
Not a fan. Not a fan for some reason. Just not a fan. But hell of a talent, hell of an athlete. But just I don't know. Something just rubs me the wrong way about it.
Yeah.
I do want to bring something up from a couple episodes. Sorry. Remember with Sin, we said like, "Hey, who was your biggest surprise?" Like, and I didn't have an answer.
Biggest surprise in what? In Royal Rumble?
Yeah, and I didn't have an answer. Sin's was Edge.
Oh yeah.
I've been thinking about that question for a week, and I would have to say mine was probably Victoria.
Okay.
Now, there's a reason why. I'm a big fan of the I know it's a bad word, but the mid card talent. I'm not a big fan of the big superstars. So all the mid carders were never brought back, and they're not a draw, and they're not a big surprise, right? So that's why I don't have like a good answer. But when they brought Victoria back, I think it was in 2021. You know, I was happy for her because she deserves a lot of recognition, and she's not even in the Hall of Fame. So just want to give hats off to good old Lisa Marie Varon.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame that have not yet been inducted or even talked about. You know, and it's hold on one second here. I'm just reading a comment here. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
Whatever, I'll answer it. I don't care.
Oh, no worry. We got somebody here. He's trying to answer a question, trying to stir the pot. He's trying to become part of the team here, trying to stir the pot. He has not hit a super chat, so I'm not going to be bringing it on the screen. Bodacious Suave. I'm not going to be beginning his question on the screen. I see what he's doing. I see what you're doing there, pal. But no. Yeah, we got some people trying to wind us up right now in the comments, Alan. This happens frequently, as you can imagine here. You know, I mean, people, they try and stump us, but we keep moving forward. But nonetheless, I was going to ask you, do you know when your next outing will be with Power Slap? Do you have any idea roughly what month?
I mean, if I had to guess, I would say March. It's been a projected date. I don't want to, jinx it and have Power Slide be like, well, we're not doing anything. But just kidding. They're not like that. No, I think probably March if I had to guess. Just recovery time, not for myself. I know they were talking about with Ron a little bit, I'm presuming they don't want to just like run it back immediately with the title match. I told them I'm ready to go. If they gave me January, I'd be like, let's go. Still training. Had to take a little bit of time off from my heavy cardio and like max lifting and stuff like that. But I'm fully back in and I'm ready to go with that. So, but manager and kind of seems like Power Slap was leaning towards that as well. Maybe March. So.
Okay, March. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see Alan in action, just keep tuning into Power Slap. Of course, go back in the archives. You can see him there, and we're going to be keeping very close tabs on you, Alan, moving forward. Obviously, for many reasons. Bodacious Suave, have you got any closing statements for us before we end this live stream?
Joyeuse fête ici de Québec.
Ouais, c'est ça. Joyeux fête, hein? On parle français un peu, toi et moi?
Moi, oui.
Ouais, c'est bon. C'est parce que des fois, on peut parler français et les gens ne comprennent pas ce qu'on est en train de dire.
Sont-tu imbéciles, les Américains?
Oui, c'est sûr, exactement. C'est des imbéciles. Sorry about that, Alan. We just spoke.
I'm a Texan. All right. Get it right.
We just went into a little bit of our native tongue here. The French.
I heard it.
Of course. Yes. But nonetheless, anybody who has not yet hit the subscribe button, make sure you do so right now. Make sure you hit the likes. Make sure you share it with your friends and family. Get it out there. Spread the word about Alan the Kryptonian. Spread the word about us, the Masters of Wrestling, right here. And we appreciate each and every one of you. And again, as always, we give glory to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Yeshua. For without him, we would not be doing this. We wouldn't be anything at all. And this is all done for entertainment purposes only, ladies and gentlemen. Alan, have you got any closing remarks for us?
I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to come on here and shoot the breeze with you and inform your audience and get to be a part of this. It's such an honor anytime anybody wants to bring myself or anybody in Power Slap on. we're still a relatively new sport, and so just thank you again for this opportunity. And yeah, guys, if you want to like and subscribe and enjoy a show, if you're on the cusp of doing that, I would say do it, share it. These guys really have the inside track on a lot of things. I don't want to give away their sources and stuff like that, but they're very well connected. They know what they're talking about, and they're on their way to greatness, and they kind of want to bring me in. So if you want something super entertaining, like, subscribe, and share.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that, and I greatly appreciate it. And Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Yeah, we will see you on the next one. God bless.